Now, this seems crazy to me, but good morning, first of all, to
Good
you,
morning.
Good
Heather, and
morning.
to
Good
you,
morning.
Ray. But I guess I jumped the gun and started to talk because it seems crazy to me. We're at the mid-year forecast, 2024 mid-year. We're already 6 months into 2024.
Not quite, but getting
Almost.
really close. Really, really close.
It's
Yeah, okay.
nuts.
All right, it's close. But people do get really upset about that. I did jump the gun earlier this year when I said, uh, when I talked about it being our sort of year-end review, and it was still like at the end of November, December, and I actually got people emailing me saying, "No, it's not really end of the year yet." I'm like, "Oh my gosh, a lot of time on your hands." Said
Seriously?
about a few weeks that I was wrong, but that's okay.
Well, it always seems right because we were talking about our forecast for the year in December. So it has been
Yeah,
six
I mean,
months
for us,
since
it
we,
feels like it's that way, but
yeah.
it's
Exactly.
mid-year.
Exactly.
Summer's coming, so that always feels to me it's like mid-year, summer, and winter. But so I,
Mhm.
digress there. But yeah, a lot's happened,
Golly,
and
a
a
lot.
lot continues to happen, and
Exactly.
really every 6 months it seems pretty different.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're starting to see that with our clients and with people kind of reaching out to us. Uh, it seems to be a completely different ask than what we were seeing at the end of last year. So yeah, we want to definitely talk about that.
Yeah, I mean, the ask has really been about support our work. We don't have a team to do it,
Mhm.
and we don't want to really build a team, or we had a team, and I hate to say it, that word, but they're laid off that team, and now we're helping them.
Hmm.
Mhm.
So it's been very interesting that's what's happened, and people have looked at. I'm sorry, Heather. Do you need to get that? I
No.
wouldn't want to. I wouldn't want to. I would.
I'm so
Okay, she's
busted.
gonna take this call, everyone, while we're on
No,
to
it's a
hundreds of
test. I need to
thousands of
put my
people
phone
on
on
LinkedIn.
mute. I'm so busted.
Oh
Like
man, oh man, that is
live.
too funny. That's too funny.
Yeah,
Yeah,
on an
yeah.
iPhone we do have a focus, so you can put it on Do Not Disturb. I don't know if Android has that, but I'll just put that out there. Um,
Uh-huh.
But no,
Heather's
I think you're
has
right. I think you're
yeah.
right about that. I mean, the last two, clients that we've met with, last week, one of them, wants some help on the comp side, and they're
Mhm.
basically, their comp lead is retiring, and they're not going to replace that person. They're basically going to figure out another way to do the work. And then the second one is, uh, they went through a layoff and laid off the HR leader. Um, and the CEO and the CFO of this smaller company basically are like, we don't want to do HR. I mean, we need somebody to come in and help us take care of this. So yeah, so we're seeing that in the market on a daily basis.
Well, how about a third one where we're working with a startup that just got funded?
Hmm.
Actually, fairly uh, a larger startup, and but
Hmm.
they just got a lot of money, and they don't want to have a full time HR team just because it's so expensive. And so we're
Mhm.
going
Hmm.
to support them as our HR team because we can do it in a more cost efficient manner. And
Yep.
the people that we have on our team, they get more expertise than they would have just hiring one person to come in and do all that work. So for them, it's worked out really well. So we're seeing that model continue to be really popular and continue to pick up steam. And I'll say it, with the rise of HR, the rise of AI in HR, excuse me, that is something that people are thinking about. Is AI
Hmm.
is going to make us more efficient, and we probably need less people. And how do we manage all of these things together? And so that's
Mhm.
really important right now to people.
Yep. No, so true, so true. And you want to talk a little bit about our thoughts on our forecast?
Well, yeah, I mean, I think
Hmm.
these are all part of them. I think the future of talent acquisition, we've talked a lot about that. Obviously, our thought process around this, and we've written about it, and we've talked about it, and we have put information out there, is that TA is going to be undergoing a radical transformation. I think in terms of how it's hired for and staffed internally. as I've said before, I just don't think these monolithic staffing or hiring or TA teams that companies have had before, where you're spending a huge amount of money on it, are going to be the norm anymore. I think it's going to be more of a very thin layer of people that will manage, the ongoing recs, or the pipeline recs that you need to continue to keep the company going. And then I think when the load starts to get too much, we're going to be in an outsourced model, and there's going to be a lot of use of AI. Now, as we've talked
Mhm.
before, hype with AI is really huge, and the
Mhm.
implementation is lower than the hype. But that's going to be coming in the next 6 months. I think 6 months from now, you're going to see the implementation start to catch up with the hype.
Yep.
And people are really going to be scrambling to put these things into practice.
I've been
Yeah.
seeing on, I think, LinkedIn, you've probably seen it too, something about TA, people that do TA are going analog to fight the AI movement.
Mhm.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
they're going back to looking at resumes by hand,
Mhm.
and not having the AI scrape and do the search anymore.
So you can
Because
be
they're
even
overloaded.
less efficient. And then,
Yeah, but the idea being that they can be more, higher quality because there's a human person touching them. But it's TA is interesting. I mean, even this morning on the way to the gym, on the radio, talk radio, there was a Robert Half, commercial talking about their ability, to hire, key staff and their use of a proprietary AI technology.
Mhm.
So,
There you
so
go.
even in ads, they're trying to put things out there like that, and which is really interesting because that's the first time I've heard that kind of on a commercial radio show.
Well, we
Hmm.
have a proprietary AI tool that we can do that as
Hmm.
well with, that we're marketing. And so if you are interested, we are saving folks a lot of time and money and resources by using that proprietary AI
Yeah.
tool. So we have that, and that's something that's going to be starting to come on like crazy very soon. And so the excuse me, the tool that we have is pretty fantastic that we're using.
Yeah. Nope, I would agree. It's
And it's
works
amazing.
really well, really well, and and also, I mean, I think folks are starting to become much more, used to an environment where we're not talking about the pandemic anymore, and the return to the
Mhm.
office is hitting lots of organizations really hard, and and I think things are becoming a little bit more normal from a workplace perspective, which I think is going to continue through the end of the year.
Well, and I think the other thing with recruiters going
Mhm.
analog, to
Mhm.
me, there's a little bit of,
Mhm.
I don't want to adopt this technology, because the more we adopt this
Mhm.
technology, the more of an opportunity there is for somebody like me to not have a job down the road. So I think by pushing back and saying, well, we're being more productive when we look at it, it's
Mhm.
a way to start to fight back against some of this AI that's coming in.
Yeah.
And look, I think it's really important that we keep in mind that people are important, and people, can do a job probably better than the AI can at the end of the day. But
Yeah.
the thought process is that you're going to be doing these things to be more productive and to allow you to
Exactly.
do things in a
Yeah.
more efficient way. We don't want to see
Mhm.
anybody lose a job. We don't want to see
Mhm.
anybody not working, as that's a right that everybody should have. And I think what you see there is that's just bad change management. I think
Mhm.
of
Mhm.
all of the things that are going on with AI, there's just not a lot of good discussion within these companies about change management and what's your approach and how are you going to handle that internally.
Yeah. Yeah. The adage of people don't mind change, they just don't want to be
Do
changed.
it.
Oh, that's a good one.
just just don't change me. Make me change. I like the concept, but when it affects me, it's a different story.
Yes, that's a good one. That
Yeah,
sounds like that
yeah.
came from that sounds like that came from a child to a parent or a wife
Yeah,
to
exactly.
a husband or something like that.
Yeah. I'll have to give my wife credit for that one for sure.
Oh, I had a
No.
feeling. Yeah, there. I nailed it. I got it. Yeah.
Totally
All right.
nailed it.
I'm
Totally
good.
nailed it.
All
Yeah.
right. I'll give myself a pat on the back on that one. I've heard things like that too. So
Yeah.
yes,
It's too funny.
yes.
But yeah, and I think the other thing too is the way we're looking at AI from an HR perspective is it's really about solving a problem or solving or helping organizations become more efficient. Uh, and that's really the value, like you said, Jason and Heather, of AI. And
Mhm.
and we just completed a pilot, with one of our clients, of exit interviews. I mean, they were having a hard time understanding why employees were leaving, and we use a proprietary AI interview tool to do an exit interview. We reached out to about 900 employees. We got 120 of them, and answered the interview. It was a voice interview over the phone, and then the technology took the voice, turned it into text, and then did the assessment and did the analysis of that text. And we got great results. And on top of that, we also asked the question, are you interested in returning to work for the company? And we had 35% of the employees say yes, they were interested. So not only did they collect good data, they also used. Are you going to use it as a recruiting tool to re-recruit employees? So so again, AI can solve some of these problems for organizations. You got to just kind of be creative on how you do it.
And the use case for that is pretty broad.
Yeah.
We have a use case to use it for employee referrals. We have a use case to use it for reference checks,
hmm
for employment verification, for 360 reviews, and it's a very low cost alternative, and
Mhm.
people like it. Okay, let's
hmm
talk a little bit about the shift towards skills based hiring. I wouldn't say shift. I would say, and we say shift, but the other word could be, it's always been talked about, but it seems like there's a real desire to make it a real part of the hiring process and a real part of the internal movement process. Is what are the skills that we have?
hmm
Can we be able to quantify very effectively and, most important, accurately, what are the skills that we have for the folks in the company, and how do we then allow that to help us with internal movement? How do we move? And Kate DeCamp, the old CHRO, or former, I shouldn't say that, old, former CHRO of at Cisco, who we worked for, she used to say, moving those employees that have the greatest skills to the highest priority work, and that's really what we're talking about.
hmm
And that's always been important, but people and companies are looking how to do that much more efficiently and much more fluidly.
Yeah. No, I think we're gonna see a lot more focus on the internal organization and understanding kind of what you have in the organization and developing that talent, and then going there first when you have openings, because you've got to be able to provide your own employees those opportunities to move, and if you don't know their skills and their background, it's impossible. I mean, then it's really a crapshoot. You're hoping that the employees see the open positions, and that you hope that they're going to apply for it, that they're not afraid to upset their manager. So so really understanding what you've got inside your organization is going to be really key to a successful organization going into the future. And that way, you're probably not going to, if you move people, you're developing your people, then you're really going to be hiring more at the lower level, at the entry level, and developing that talent. So you're not gonna have to go out and buy talent at the director or VP level. If you're developing your own. So that's a huge shift that we think is going to be happening.
And we have Rick Savage on our team, who we have worked with for a long time, and we both worked with Rick at several different companies.
hmm
And Rick and you have all done this work before. I mean, we've done this work before people even really talked about skills-based hiring, and it was more of the buy, borrow, build, bounce methodology that
Mhm.
was, prevalent years ago in terms of, do we need to buy talent in terms of an acquisition? Do we need to borrow, meaning move resources around? Do we need to develop the talent by building it? Or bounces, do we need to eliminate people who don't have the skills and then rehire for them? And so we've over the years done a lot of analysis in that space, and Rick
Mhm.
has a lot of experience helping companies do that and works with us, and we have a lot of automated processes to go through that. So if
Mhm.
that's something that you're looking to do, we've been doing that for probably 20 years now.
Yep.
You know, which
Mhm.
nothing is ever new. It just gets repackaged in terms of a different name and becomes new again.
Yeah. So true. So true. Yeah. And that's a a lot of very very challenging work, but organizations have to do it, and especially if you want to retain your top talent and develop your top talent, you got to do it. I mean, that's just
Mm.
kind of becoming more of a table stakes approach to HR.
Future challenges. What do we've talked a little bit about the fact that HR teams are being thinned out. Some of the CHROs are moving on, not because of their desire to, because the companies have said, "Hey, look, we don't need somebody paid this high at this level." I've heard a number of companies just looking at some senior level hires, and they've stopped doing that hiring, because not just CHROs, but other high level positions. And then when I read some of the things on LinkedIn about people just being unable to find a job and how hard it is to find a job,
Mm.
it's really very heartbreaking. And there's a lot of that going on right now. And I don't think that we can underestimate where the hiring market has gone in the last four
Hmm.
years from being so white hot to now there's people really struggling to find things that you would think that they could get employed employed for or employed in. And
Hmm.
so that's something out there that I think we're really conscious of. And how do we help both companies and employees find a match with each other?
Hmm.
Mhm.
Yeah. No, I think that's a huge challenge out there. I think the one article I read, we've got low unemployment, but we have very low unemployment for brawn work, hourly work, service work. That's a hot market, continues to be a hot market. But for the brain work, that is where it's definitely much more of a challenge, and we're seeing that, like Jason said, and as we talk to some of our professional friends and colleagues that are out there in the market trying to find roles, and and we've seen a few people take roles that are several levels below their capability, to basically get in the door and have a have a role and have a
Mm.
revenue, some dollars and some benefits. So we think that's going to continue. I mean, organizations are being very, very particular and picky about adding any additional resources and headcount.
Mhm.
Yeah, and that's not a super fun place to occupy for the labor market, just because we're all coming off of such a white hot market that now
Hmm.
we've quickly decelerated to that. It's really a head fake for a lot of people in terms of, whoa, wait a minute, what happened? My phone was ringing, people were interested in me, and I had all these
Hmm. Yeah.
opportunities, and now I got to find something, and it's basically the sound of crickets out there, which
Yep.
is
Mhm.
which is tough to deal with. So we're hoping to help figure out, with some of this skills based hiring and
Hmm.
better assessments and more accuracy in terms of how we hire, and better talent acquisition processes and more efficient talent acquisition processes, that we could get people hired with the companies that we're talking to. So for us, it's also what I would call a passion to make sure that things are working better internally in organizations, so that people that you need to work can get a works. So
Yeah.
we want to benefit both
Yeah.
employees and employers.
Yeah. The other big, future challenge that we're seeing is, um, and I'm hearing a lot of it from the folks on the benefit side and folks on more the operation side is, how do you make the employee experience more personalized? Employees are becoming much more accustomed to people that they work with, companies that they work with, you know, personalizing the experience to them, whether it's emails, text, how they interact, with the product or with their customer service teams. And I think employees are going to are expecting that level of service from their HR team. So, being able
Mhm.
to answer questions within, a 3 to 4 hour block, being able to, to coordinate and get responses very, very quickly. And HR teams have got to get better at that. And also they've got to start tracking, when you call in an issue to one of the providers of services, you expect, hey, I left a message, how quickly are you going to get back to me? And you're going to follow up on a text on a regular basis. Well, employees are going to be expecting the same thing from HR. So how can HR become better at tracking open cases, following up, making sure the employees have a good positive experience as they deal not only with HR, but with IT, with finance, with legal, with some of the other, internal functions. You know, and I think AI will help in that for the organizations that are becoming more proactive in this area. But I think that's going to be a huge, huge need for HR teams.
I have two words for you:
Hmm.
me, be bot. And
I was just about to say the same.
look, I mean, the
There you go.
reality of it
Hmm.
is look, if you're expecting as a new employee to come in, or as an employee to come in and expect right now more services, more efficiency,
Hmm.
in a time where people are being laid off and companies are trying to save money and not investing as much, your expectations are completely mismatched with where the where companies are right now in terms of looking at their revenue. So the only way that you're going to be able as a company to meet that, in terms of if that's a really important burning platform, is you have to use technology, and you have to use
Hmm.
something like MebeBot, which has a amazing generative AI chat
Hmm.
capabilities and can do all of those things that you've said. That's what's going to make the difference. And so no amount of human interaction is going to be able to do all that. And the reality of it is that if you do want to do human interaction, excuse me, you have to outsource that. You have to outsource that work. And then and
Hmm.
we know this from Cisco days, where we outsourced, most of our back office transactional work for a period of time. But you have to decide, are you going to outsource it? And now you need to look at where are you going to put, an outsourcing organization. Right now everybody's looking at Manila, and the Philippines, because that's a place where you can employ somebody for, and I'm sorry to say this, but if you do any of the research, for $4, $6, $7 an hour, and it becomes affordable to be able
Hmm.
to do that type of service, with the human based person doing that. But at the end of the day, you keep doing labor arbitrage and chasing those dollars, and that becomes difficult because at some point, Philippines wages will increase and your cost will increase, and you'll go to another place for labor arbitrage.
Hmm.
That's why having AI come in, and having AI be a cost efficient approach, and having AI be a also a very efficient approach in terms of getting things done, and having these AI providers be able to get the prices in line with, this is going to cost you less than hiring internally, or chasing labor arbitrage, or whatever it is. This is why this is such an important piece of work that's coming on, and we're trying to help people understand that. And how do you chase those dollars, and how do you spend those dollars wisely?
Yep. No, that's exactly it. I mean, there's You do it with technology, or like you said, you chase the cheap, the cheap labor, and that only goes on for so long before the labor costs keep going up, because everybody's in the same boat. They're all trying to do the same thing, and that just drives up the cost. So, we can definitely help you with different options around that.
Yeah. So if you're looking at that type of work, oh my gosh,
Mhm.
we've done so much of that, and I've personally done so much of that. So we can talk about shared services and how you set that up and where you want to put that and what do you want to
Mhm.
do. And shared services isn't necessarily a word associated just with big companies. It's associated with smaller companies too, because you can set up an efficient shared services operation in really any size company that you're interested in. It just requires some dedication. If you're going to try to set
Mhm.
up a shared services center with your existing team of people and like, hey, let's set up a shared services center and let's just do it with the team of people that we have internally,
Mhm.
it's not going to happen. So if you do that kind of work, you really have to have a team that's dedicated to that, focused on that, getting that to work.
Yep.
Mhm.
Exactly. So, yeah, definitely. Yeah, let us know. We'd love to help you, become more efficient and with different approaches.
And the last thing I think is really important is just the mental health challenges that are
Mhm.
we're talking about with companies. And so we're really looking at how companies are taking on mental health challenges by having not only their EAP, which is table stakes, but what kind of mobile app or do they have where people can access an AI based mental health chatbot
Mhm.
or a mental health assistant to talk to them before they get some sort of appointment for assistance. And so that's a huge body of work, and that's a lot of what companies are spending time on, especially in the benefits area. I cannot tell you how many requests for surveys and requests for information I get every day from somebody saying, hey, how would you implement this? What tools do you like? What do you think should be done for automated mental health in organizations? It's blowing up right now. And so anyone who's not spending time on that, we can
Mhm.
help you with that. That's a big area right now.
Mhm.
Yeah. No, it is. It is, and we've, even last week, I went to a disrupt HR event here in Denver, and half of the presentations were around mental health and how
Wow.
organizations can support them. So, that kind of gives you a sense of how big of a topic this is for organizations.
So that's a little bit about our 2024 almost mid-year forecast, so I don't get cards and letters again that I was
Yeah,
inaccurate in
yeah.
my dates.
Oh gosh.
Mhm. Yeah, exactly. We'd love to hear your feedback. Are we, on target, or are you seeing something different? So,
Mm.
yeah, please let us know. Love to talk to you about that.
Yes, or there's something that we missed or something that you think is coming over the horizon and will be important for us to know about. We always like
Hmm.
to trade thoughts and ideas and opinions. So you can get a hold of me at Jason at thrivehrconsulting.com.
And get a hold of me, Ray at REY at thrivehrconsulting.com. And Heather.
And mine is heather.simmons at thrivehrconsulting.com. You can also call us. You can find us on LinkedIn. You can go to our website. However
Hmm.
you want, we will respond.
We're super easy to find.
That's right. We are. We are.
Hmm.
Like you wish if your dog gets lost that we were as easy to find. Well, you wish your dog was as easy to find as Thrive. I mean,
There you go.
literally, you
There you
Hmm.
just
go.
type on your computer and
Exactly.
you find us.
Everybody have a great
All
day.
right, talk later. All right,
Yeah.
see
See
you.
you next.
Okay,
Take
bye.
care.
All right, bye.